everybody, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for stopping by. Today it is Thursday the 7th of January. It's around 3:15 in the afternoon, but you'll be getting to see this video on Saturday the 9th of January because I probably won't be going out at all on Saturday, and I do want to have something to upload to my channel. So yeah, that's why you'll be getting to see this video on Saturday. As you can see, I'm on Central Drive. I'm on the Revo part of Central Drive, just past Revo Park. You can see it back there. If I come all the way around with the camera, you see all this fencing here. That used to be Tiffany's, or the Mecca, as some of us used to know it. And I remember quite a lot about Tiffany's. I remember there was a big wedding shop that sold wedding gowns on the bottom floor, because I used to look through the windows many times at all the wedding dresses. They used to have a lot of snooker tables there. It's called the Commonwealth Sporting Centre. Because when I was in my last year at high school, our PE lesson, it was for the last two periods, Thursday afternoon, we had double PE, and our teacher said we could spend it at the Commonwealth if we wanted to, and we all had these little school passes what we could go and spend the afternoon in the Commonwealth. And it was great. So a few of the lads in the class that just used to go and play snooker or pool, and most of the girls just play squash and then went in the sauna for the afternoon. Unless you were me, where you have zero sporting coordination, in which case you would play racquetball. Because I remember trying to play squash and I was really hopeless at it. And one of the instructors who worked at the sports centre, and he was kind of tasked with looking after the school kids, and he was like, if you're struggling with squash, try racquetball. And basically what racquetball is, I don't know really anything about squash or racquetball, but the gist I got as a school kid was that racquetball was basically squash for little children or beginners, because you got these ginormous rackets and like a big sponge ball. The sort of things you could buy in a little kit from the pound shops back then. And that was great. Racquetball was great fun. I could actually hit the ball. I had a friend though who used to come down with me, and she played squash. She was quite good. She had lessons, and she was telling me about how all the balls were different speeds because they had the little coloured dots on them, and that meant they would go at different speeds if you hit them. And obviously they were just made out of, I don't know, denser rubber or less dense rubber. But back then when I was a kid, it just all went over my head and I didn't have a blues clues. As far as I was concerned, all the balls were too fast. But racquetball, yeah, I could play that. I could actually hit the ball. So we'd go and play racquetball for a bit, and then we'd all just go and veg out in the sauna. And it was great fun, because back then you didn't really get a chance to do things like that, like go in saunas and stuff. But sometimes we didn't even go in the Commonwealth. We would just go straight into town and go into Lucy's bar, which used to open sometimes on a Thursday afternoon. I'm sure I remember it opening a few times on a Thursday afternoon, unless I'm thinking of a different day. It was a long time ago. But we're going to Lucy's bar, which was underneath Jenks's, and sit there drinking orange squash huddled in the corner, thinking how tough and badass and grown up we were because we were in a pub. And I don't know how we even got in, to be honest. I don't think anybody cared that much because we were clearly kids. We had our school uniforms on. One of the guys once came over and said to us, he was like, look, I don't mind you being here if you're only drinking orange, but just take your ties off and don't sit where people can see you. So yeah, we just used to go there sometimes. Crazy days back then. But that was about the limit of my craziness, drinking watery orange juice in a bar. I don't drink now at all as an adult. I think I'm just going to walk up here. I'm going into town, but I'm just looking for slightly different paths what I can take you on as I walk into town. I need some more potatoes. I've got plenty of sausage, I've got chicken, I've got veg, I've got everything, but I've run out of potatoes. And I can't buy massive bags because I struggle to carry them back. It's a nice little path, isn't it? Very nice. It'd be nice when these trees get bigger. Are they going to get bigger? Or are they the sort of trees that stay small? I planted a tree once in my garden. When I first moved into my house, the house I'm in now, quite a few years ago, I wanted a tree at the bottom of the garden, so I bought this little tree from a garden centre and it said fast growing. So I thought, oh, that'll do. I want something that grows quite fast, and I put it in my garden. Then one of the neighbours knocked on my door and they were like, I'm not trying to have a go at you or anything, please don't take it that way, but that tree you've just planted in your garden, it's one of those Leylandii things. And I'm aware I probably butchered the pronunciation, but you know the ones that I mean. They look like Christmas trees, sort of, kind of, except they're definitely not. And they grow like super duper fast. They're almost like the weed of the tree family, and they grow massively tall. And when he told me how fast it would grow and how tall it would grow, I dug it up and I put it in a pot, because one of my other friends told me if you grow trees like that in a pot, they tend not to grow super tall. But I ended up giving it to somebody because somebody wanted one and they had a big garden, so I ended up giving it to somebody else. But I did want a tree for my garden. So what I was doing was I went to Stanley Park and a couple of leaves blew off one of the, I think the horse chestnut trees, sycamore trees. I get my trees mixed up. Anyway, I picked up a couple of leaves and I took them home and I sliced the leaves up and I put the ends in rooting powder and potted them into some compost to see if they would grow. And two grew. Two little cuttings grew into nice little tree cuttings. So I put one in one side of my garden and the other in the other side of my garden. And now those trees are still there. And they're looking quite good and quite healthy. So I always like to tell people when they see those trees and they say, oh, those are nice trees. And I say, yeah, do you know, I grew them from a couple of leaves. I did the same thing as well with some lavender, because when my sister's friends had a lavender bush and I asked if I could take a little cutting and grow it, and she said, yeah, sure you can. So I grabbed this little lavender cutting and I grew it, and when it grew in the pot and got to about 4 or 6 inches, I gave it to my sister because she loved lavender and she was looking for a lavender plant. So I said, yeah, I've grown this for you, have it. And she said, oh, thanks, and she loved it. And she planted it when the weather got nice in the front garden, and we went into town for coffee. This was a few years ago, and when we got back, somebody had dug the lavender plant up and pinched it. So that wasn't very nice. So instead of a nice little lavender plant in a garden, there was just a little sad hole in the soil. It just goes to show people pinch anything. This is a bit of a sad state of affairs down here, isn't it? We're looking here and you can just see how the Foxhall Village development just got stopped mid-build. Like the houses there that are just partially finished. There's one there and there's one there. That was going to be a big house. So those poor people that bought those nice new houses, instead of being part of the lovely village, they're just living basically next door to an abandoned building site. I mean, I do think that at some point it will be definitely developed over and somebody will buy it and somebody will do something with it. I did read that the council had bought this land, at least on this side, and they were going to build homes, and somebody in a comment thread on one of my videos told me the same thing. They said, oh yeah, the council's bought the land and they're going to build on it, but that is not an official announcement because I'm just going off what I've heard and what people have told me. I don't have actually any reliable source to say that's going to happen. But this big tall fence did get put up here fairly recently, so people are taking care of the land for sure. Anyway, I think I've waffled on enough for this video, so I'm going to end this one now. I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit that like button and maybe leave me a comment, and please subscribe, and I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Goodbye.